Hey guys, Coach Becca here, and welcome to my swim-specific mobility, flexibility, and core activation workout. All you need today is a mat and maybe some free friends like I have here. This workout is designed for swim-specific movements, but obviously this is great for you even if you're not a swimmer. All right, we're going to start with single leg calf raises by 10 each side. So the goal here is just to warm up the ankle joint, really get up onto the toes as much as we can. Work on extension of that ankle joint, work on stability a little bit. It's also a great time to focus on our breathing. Each rep is a breath, inhale, exhale, and just knit that core together early on in our workout. It's one thing that single leg exercises are great for. All right, switch to the other side. Again, knit that core together, use that core to help you stay stable, and let's work on those ankles. Some of you might wonder when this is a good time to be doing this workout. If you're heading into a big meet as a swimmer, this is a great taper workout to do for you as your dry land. The average human that's not even a swimmer could benefit from doing this 1 to 3 times a week. All right, up next we've got a single leg trunk squat. Here's what it looks like from this side. I've just got one knee bent behind me. I'm going to lower down into an invisible chair here and just hold for 15 seconds. I'm pulling my shoulder blades down, my arms are crossed at my shoulders, my core is nice and strong and pulled in, and I'm just going to activate those quads. Great exercise for ankle, knee, and hip stability. And again, it's going to turn on the quads and the core. All right, and we're going to switch sides here. I'm going to show you from the front now so you can see that front view. Again, cross at the arms, squeeze the core, one leg bent behind you, and just lower down as far as you can in a comfortable position to work on balance, leg strength, core strength, the works. Just 15 seconds aside here. Good focus. And rest. Great job, guys. All right, up next, we're going to do a split stance reach to overhead reach, which you can always come back to in our next exercise. We make it a little bit harder. So kind of like you're getting up on the blocks, reach towards the toe, hinging at your hips, soft knees, and then reach overhead and streamline. While I'm doing that streamline, I'm really thinking about rolling my shoulders back, biceps go to ear. So I'm kind of choosing to work on my shoulder mobility at the same time. You could get sloppy and obviously not gain that, but you do want to get everything you can out of a compound movement like this. So 99% of my weight is there in my front leg. Great job. Let's try the other side now, and here's a front view for you. And again, we're going to progress this in our next movement. So if you're just starting out to exercise, you can always come back to this one, if the next thing we do is too hard. Great way to kind of tie in the lower body into the upper body. Anytime you're in a split stance position where one leg's in front of the other, you're going to get a little bonus of balance because of that, 90% weight shift in the front and very little weight in the back. So again, hinge at the hips, reach overhead. Same thing as we move into the next more progressed exercise. You're still going to reach down, but now that back leg's going to come up and you're going to pull that knee through. Core stays solid the whole time. Reach down, just like what you were doing, except now you're using your glutes to lift that back leg straight behind you. Big stretch back. So this one's really great for stability, obviously, but also for hip mobility, okay? So really make that movement strong. Really use your core, use your glutes, and then cinch that core together as you drive. Take deep breaths. Every rep is a breath. That's a good rule to have there for the most part. Okay, I'll show you from the side here. And again, if this is too much for you, if you're really wobbling and struggling a lot, just go back to what we were doing and just do another set of 6 per side. That's why I had that one come first. And notice how that back leg, it's just going to go straight back. If your glutes get lazy, it's going to be really easy to let your lower back do all the work here. And we don't want that. We want everything working together today, the whole body. And that's what's going to make this great for you as an athlete. If you are a swimmer, you're a triathlete, or even if you're somebody that doesn't consider themselves a swimmer, maybe you just walk a lot. I mean, there's different ways you can tie these movements and make them functional to you, whether you're an athlete or not. All right, great work. Next up, we're gonna do one of my favorite ones. This one's funky, so you're not gonna really be able to tell what I'm doing unless you're just listening really well. So make sure you listen here. So we're gonna get 90-degree bend in the front leg, 90-degree bend in the back leg. So we're just gonna start here in the position that I'm in. My back ankle, I'm just gonna press that bone in my ankle into the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Keep pressing, 2, and 1. Now I'm gonna take that ankle and I'm going to lift it off the floor 10 times. There's 2. And yours might barely come off the floor. It might not come off the floor at all. All right. But your hips are actually causing this movement. So we're building strength in your hips with the press down and the lift off. Crazy as it may seem, but you should feel it in kind of the hip and glute region. Keep the torso quiet. You can even see I'm kind of rocking a little bit and rolling. So we want to make the hips do the work. All right, you saw me pointing to the knee now. We're going to press that knee into the ground for 10 seconds. We should already have been pressing. Okay, so push hard. And now we're going to lift for 10 and 9. So you can see that we're going one direction with the press, the opposite direction with the lift. So the whole goal of this press and lift pattern is to increase mobility and control of our hip joint. Okay, if our hips can't rotate, we're going to have major issues. Okay, everything else is going to compensate. So that's what we're practicing with the press and the lift. All right, great job. We're just going to do the same pattern on the other side, starting with the press in the back ankle. Okay, try to keep that torso quiet so that the hips are forced to work. We're pressing that back ankle down. Deep breaths as you imprint that ankle into the floor. Press, 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 and breathe. Hips are working here. That's where you should feel it. And if you don't, maybe try changing your position a little bit. And now we're lifting 10 times, pushing that knee in, letting the hip do the work to rotate that foot off the floor. Common for one side to be more mobile than another. If you want to do a few reps on the less mobile side, you're invited to. All right, now the knee. Press that knee down for 10, 9. Push that knee in like you're making an imprint of your kneecap on the floor. Feeling that communication deep in the hips, touching base with the glutes, and now we lift for 10 and 9. Breathing each rep. Again, the focus is mobility. All right, so you really want to lift. If you swim breaststroke, I find this to be a really important pattern for you to do. Also, if you're a human being, I find this important. So even if you're like, oh, I swim butterfly, or I swim freestyle, or I don't swim, you still need to be doing these. Good work. All right, next we're going to do one of my favorites. We're going to do tripod extensions. I would say just watch me do this first one, so it'll be more like 4 rounds for you. The palm is going to go overhead as we drive our hips off the floor. Okay, we're going to come down each time. And now we're going to work on the legs. So we're going to go into a tripod and just straighten out one leg and then the other. Okay, so join me on this one here. Here we go. Knees bent, arm goes overhead as we drive the hips, come all the way back down. Try the other arm. Just drive that palm overhead like you're raising your hand in class. Now drive the hips, straighten out your right leg and then your left leg. Come back down to the floor. So get yourself set up in the start position, palm up, reach it overhead, big stretch like you're just waking up in the morning, stretching everything out. Big stretch there. All right, now drive the hips, straighten out left leg, right leg. Doesn't matter which leg comes first. You can change it up every time if you want to. Let's do 2 more. Overhead stretch. You almost honestly can't mess this one up. If you're sitting on the floor, you're going to go into an overhead stretch. Just think of it that way. Now the left leg and right leg. Straighten one out at a time. Here we go. Big overhead stretch. Like you're reaching for the wall. Or an imaginary wall if you don't swim. Okay, then the other side. Great. Drive up. Keep the glutes tight here. Straighten and straighten. Nice job. Kind of a tricky one, but it feels so good once you get the hang of it. If you didn't get all of that, press pause and go back through it. All right, now so just from spinal flexion extension. So on all 4s, arms are quiet. You're going to tilt your tailbone like you're filling it up with water here in the cat position. And then you're going to tilt your tailbone like you're emptying all that water out for the cow position. The chin tucks in. Lift that spine like you're a cat screeching or hissing. And then you're going to lift your chin, go the opposite direction with the spine and hips. And the bigger you can make this movement, the more stretchy you can make your spine, the better. If you swim butterfly, this is a great movement for you to do just all the time. You want your spine to be as mobile as possible. You want your hips to be as mobile as possible. You want your neck action to mirror what you're doing here. You don't want to do this movement with your elbows. You want to do it with your vertebrae. Okay? And now we're just going to go into a nice little hip opener stretch. So we're going to go into downward dog, drive the hips towards the sky. Arms are kind of pushing you back at a slight angle. And you're just going to drop one heel into the floor. Give your calves a nice little pedal, a nice little stretch there. Shoulders get a nice stretch. Hamstrings get a nice stretch. Feel good movement here. All right, now get into a position where you can raise one leg behind you. Hold that there. And then slowly begin tilting that heel, bending the knee, opening that knee up towards the sky, pushing the grounded foot into the floor. Hip stretch, hamstring stretch, shoulder stretch, all into one. Gorgeous. All right, take a deep breath. Come on back to those foot pedals. You should feel a slight burn in your shoulders here, nothing crazy, but depending on where you're at with your fitness, you might feel it more than others. All right, lift the opposite leg straight back, bend at the knee, open up the hips, stretch the shoulders, take a deep breath, rotate into it, and come back down. Slowly walk the hands in. Good one to do twice if you want to just hit rewind by 30 seconds there and go through that again. All right, now we're going to do one of my favorites, a forward bend, a hip extension. Actually, if you're a diver or swimmer, working diving, this is a good one for you. This is kind of dive specific, but forward bend stretch, hands go behind you, and all you do is lift your hips off the ground. Deep breath in, forward bend for the back and the hamstrings. Hands go behind you, squeeze your butt and core, stretch out those hip flexors into hip extension. Big breath, stretch it out. Good time to visualize. Exhale, bring the hands back, drive the hips, point the toes. Looking good out there. Let's do a few more rounds. Just a feel-good exercise. Love this one. Hits the front and the back. Last round. Big open here. Big open. Excellent. Great job. All right, the next one's tricky, so you might need to just be ready to hit pause or rewind here. So you're just going to lay on your side with your knees bent in a comfortable position. Top arm up, palm faces up. You're going to lift your arm over your head like you're raising your hand in class. Rotate the palm there and reach back to the floor. And come back the opposite direction, turning the palm at the top. I'm going to show you it from the side as well. CAR stands for controlled articular rotation. So we need to do this slowly and deliberately, forcing all the work and all the movement through the shoulder joint. Gravity in this position on the side is really helping pull that arm deeper, I would say, into this movement. I like these better than the standing versions you guys might have seen in my past videos, but it's great to do them standing or kneeling as well. I just feel a deep connection in my shoulder joint here, which is what this is all about. Building a better connection, better control, better range of motion, and just communicating with that shoulder joint. So go slow, go controlled, find the spaces in that shoulder joint. Lift, rotate, reach. And just like I mentioned with the hips, if you can't rotate through your shoulder or your hips, you're in big trouble, right? We're going to have compensations and injuries. So this can help build resilience and integrity in the shoulder joint. So just take a deep breath. Let's go to the other side here, and we're going to do about 4 on the other side. So again, lay on the side, knees bent, top arm, palms up. Okay, and we're just going to reach. Got a little distraction here with my sidekick. But again, you're going to reach that palm overhead like you're raising your hand in class. Reaching overhead, not up to the side, reaching overhead towards your ear. So you're kind of making a giant circle with your hand. There you go. And just time it with a breath. Reaching the palm again towards the ear like you're going overhead, not lifting straight off the floor towards the sky. Rather, you're going overhead, reaching. And this, if you're a swimmer, this is really specific to freestyle and backstroke. This is probably the best backstroke movement I have in the workout today. There's one core exercise that could maybe give me a run for my money on that statement, but something for every stroke in here. And guess what? If you don't swim freestyle or backstroke, if you don't even know what those things are, still a great exercise to improve your posture and shoulder mobility. Well done. All right, next we're going to do a butterfly specific Superman. Great for posture muscles. Great just extension exercise. Squeeze the shoulder blades and the toes at the same time, so your arms are on a T position. Your eyes can be neutral, so you can look down or you can look straight ahead, okay? You might be asking, what about my neck? Well, if you breathe on your butterfly, especially if you breathe every stroke, you want to do this like you would be breathing in your fly. If you don't swim butterfly, you might keep the ice down. I'm trying to demonstrate both here. So we're doing about 10. Squeeze, emphasis on squeezing the shoulder blades together and lifting the feet up. Up next, we got alternating Superman. So this is more freestyle specific. So you're going to lay with your arms overhead now, and you're going to lift your right arm and left leg, and then left arm, right leg. So this is just a great cross body, opposite hand, opposite foot type thing. Great coordination exercise. Just a nice drill for the spine and the hips. Great for overhead mobility. Great for your core. Great to stretch out the hips. This one is just so good on so many levels. Even if you're not a swimmer, I just love this exercise. 20 reps total, that's 10 aside. Again, just lifting the hand and foot at the same time. Just big stretch across the body. Awesome work. Next, we're going to do a little child's pose variation here. So your feet together, knees out. Breaststrokers, where are you at? This one's for you, okay? Feet together, knees out, arms straight overhead, and you're just going to drop the hips into a gorgeous stretch. I have my feet lifted off the ground for a couple. You just want to find where this stretch feels good, both in the shoulders on that portion and then in the hips on this portion of the stretch. So shoulders, get a good stretch, back and hips. And then as you drop those hips forward, you're just coming back and forth with your breath. Big stretch back, big stretch forward, and you should feel muscles stretching on both ends of this stretch. So if you're not, adjust your feet and your knees so that you do feel something. Deep breaths in and out. Find the spaces. Great job. Side leg lifts. Okay, we're on all fours. One foot goes 90 degrees out from the hip, and we're going to lift up, pause briefly, come back down. Lift, pause, down. Squeezing the core, keeping the arms quiet. Great one for lateral glute training. Great one for core work. Just a really nice kind of, again, this whole theme of this is like mobility and body weight strength combination. You should feel this in the glutes. In fact, you might even get a tiny cramp if you're pausing there like you should be. We're just kind of working the hips, working the glutes, working the core, everything, needed to make you a functional athlete or human being. Just great in general for side-to-side movement. Okay, we're going to move to the other side here. You can see from the front now, up, lift, pause, and hold. Squeezing the core. You see that my arms aren't bending or straightening. I'm not rocking side to side to gain more mobility. I want my glutes and core to do the work, not my arms. Try to time your movement with a breath. Don't forget that mini pause there to really get a deep tap into the glutes, deep communication in the hips. Also, hopefully you guys are able to do these workouts outside. If it's nice where you're at, gorgeous here in the Seattle area, just enjoying some sunshine, good nature vibes. It's always a great way to get more out of your workout. So nice work there. All right, shoulder rotation sequence. Elbows 90 degrees, hands 90 degrees. I'm rotating my right palm down and back up. Right palm down, right palm up. And I'm trying to get as much mobility down as I am back. So great for freestylers here. But if you don't swim freestyle, if you're just somebody that needs a good workout, just a great way to keep those shoulders healthy and strong. Obviously, shoulders and hips have something in common. They're ball and socket joints. So the ability to rotate through them is essential, especially as we start to age. Really nice job. All right, next up, opposites. So we just did 5 per side singles. Now we're going to do alternating for 5. So now I'm just trying to get one palm back like I've got a wall behind me. In fact, this is good to do on a wall. And then I'm trying to rotate the other palm down. So just getting as much rotation here while keeping that 90-degree bend at the elbows and shoulder there. And now we're going to finish with 5 of each. Inhale and exhale with the movement, trying to get the palms down and then the knuckles back. So stretching on both sides of the movement. Excellent job out there. Nice work. little bit of core action and T-spine work here. So we're on a plank. We're just going to reach one hand towards the sky and then the other side. Squeeze the glutes like you've got a $100 bill stuck between your glutes and you don't want to drop it. Okay, so keep those hips solid. There's going to be a little bit of rotation there. That's fine. Just try to keep the core solid. We don't want to be bending at the knees or rolling too much through the hips. We want the spine to rotate and core to rotate there. Big breaths, big reach. Rotation's obviously really important. The ability of our core to rotate's important. Good for core stability, good for your thoracic spine mobility. Not too hard. You can do this on the knees, of course, though, if you need to. Great job firing up the core. Here's the core exercise I was mentioning for you backstrokers. Obviously, your kick is very important when you swim backstroke. So arms overhead and streamlined, toes pointed, curl the shoulders and hands off the ground. And we're just going to point those toes and do 20 flutter kicks per side. So 40 if you're counting singles. We'll keep those fingertips relaxed, and then we'll take a short break here. So streamlined position overhead. If you're newer to exercise and that streamlined position's too hard for you, you can place the hands under the butt instead. Flutter kick. Working the quads, working the core, keep those toes pointed. If you're a backstroker, just picture your race there. Good time to visualize. So strengthening that core and that nice lengthened, streamlined position. Just a really good, some specific core exercise. Well done. It does burn too, so don't discredit that. All right, we're gonna do a little torso stretch here. We're starting to wind our workout down. So just on the knees, you're gonna rotate to the side. Take a deep breath in, stretch out that spine. Begin to find those sore spots in the neck. Look right, look left, look down. Kind of feel where those traps maybe are a little bit tight, or just those neck muscles that get a little fatigued with daily life and stress, etc. If you want to spend more time on that, you're welcome to. Child's pose next. So just sit those hips back, arms overhead. We're going to stretch it a few different ways here. So just if you're a little bit tight in your lats and your lower back, push the hips one way and the hands the opposite way. And just get a nice stretch on one side, breathing into it. Try the other side now, just stretching into those lats in the lower back. Deep, deep breathing here. Positive words of affirmation in the mind. Okay, back to regular child's pose. What I want you to do is lift one hand off the ground. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Reach, reach, reach. Good job. Now try the other hand. Lift it up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep that arm up. Good lat mobility there. Okay, back to the other hand. Lift that up and just give me a couple rotations there, stretching it out, staying loose. Good work. Other side, lift the hand up, couple stretches, and relax. Some final stretches here. Upward dog stretch. So feet flat, toes flat, shoulders pulled down, hips flat. Couple little more neck stretches there, couple neck mobility action there. Totally optional. Just trying to get loose here, feel good, keep the body feeling good. Quad stretch now. So on one knee, reach back for your foot. If you're not flexible enough for this, I could have just slid back and put my foot up there on that chair. So you can, instead of grabbing your ankle, use a wall or a chair for this stretch. Really nice way to stretch the hips and the quads. So let's try the other side. Again, if you can't grab the ankle, use a chair or a wall to do so instead. So drop into that stretch. Take some deep breaths. Use your core there. Good balance training on the side. Good time to visualize, especially if you've got a meet coming up or a race coming up. From here, we're just going to sit back. You might want to hold the stretch there if your hamstrings are tight. If you can, sink all the way back onto the foot, and let's stretch out the hamstrings and the lower back. Just in a kind of an aggressive stretch. So I'll show you as I come out of this where you can kind of pause, but everyone stretches differently. Everyone's got different levels of flexibility. So you can obviously just hold the stretch here, for example, if you need to. So same thing on the other side. You're just kneeling, half kneeling, stretch towards your foot. You can hold it there. Or if you're feeling it, stretch those hips back. Again, stretching the hamstrings, the lower back. The goal is just to feel good here, you guys. Just opening up the body. Humans in general just need to spend more time accessing their joints, and you're going to feel better. Great job today, guys. Thanks for joining me. Just remember to subscribe if you want to stay up to date to my summer series workouts. Thanks to my pups for joining me here, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining me, and have a great rest of your day, guys.